Hey there, it's Brenda Meller with Meller Marketing, bringing you back for another edition of Social Media Pie, where I bring inspiring people to inform and educate you. And today I've got a very special guest. It's a fellow LinkedIn rock star, Ira Bowen. Ira, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on your show, Brenda.
Good. Well, it's a pleasure having you. I've seen so many of your live broadcasts, and I reached out to you, gosh, it was a couple of weeks, maybe a month or so back, and I said, hey, would you like to be my guest? Because I know you're doing a lot of these yourself, but how's it feel to be in the passenger seat for a change?
Yeah, it's different. I actually do get interviewed quite a bit, or
Yeah.
I get requests actually mostly. I don't do most of them.
Yeah.
But
Well, your network is huge now. I was actually just looking you up before we jumped on, and I started. I don't even know where I heard your name first. I mean, a lot of times when I find people for the rock stars list, it's because somebody nominated you or whatnot. But you were one of I think.
I remember that answer. If you want me to help.
Yeah. Do you remember? Fill me in on that.
Oh gosh, what's his name? Ron Craig.
Okay.
Ron Craig is he's a security guy up in Canada, and he's one of my friends, and he was on something, and he said, hey, you should check this out. You should.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. Anyways,
but did Ron nominate you, or did you reach out to me and ask about the list? Do you remember?
I think I reached out to you. I think I saw it and I said, hey, this is awesome. I'd love to be a part of it.
Yeah. And I in the beginning I was taking self-nominations, and then at one point the list started growing too fast, and I had to kind of start screening people because I'm not getting paid for this. This is just something I'm doing, a curiosity kind of a thing. And it got to the point where I was like 100, 200 names, and I'm like, why am I doing all this time? And like people were starting to use it for their own purposes. And then I started being more selective and kind of looking at people's activity. And then at one point I said, I'm not taking self-nominations anymore. You have to be nominated by someone. But at any rate, Ira, I'm really glad to be online and talking with you here today. And when I asked you to come on, I said, kind of pick the topic. So guys, we're going to be talking about job search and networking through the pandemic and beyond. And I just want to take a moment to pause and say hi to those of you who are watching. If you're watching on LinkedIn Live, or if you're watching us on Facebook Live, I'd love it. I'm going to put a little reminder on here in a second. I love it if you could comment below, because we can't see you until you identify yourself. And Ira, I think that's one thing you've seen. Anytime I've seen you broadcast live, I always jump in and I always say hi from Metro Detroit. And I know you do a really good job of reaching back out throughout your broadcast, and you're like, hey, Brenda's on with us. And then you do a little, talk about Brenda, or you talk about the different people. And it makes me feel like, it's kind of like when I'm, if you're at Good Morning America holding one of those signs in the background, hey, Mom, it's a nice little shout out. So a little bit later in the broadcast, guys, I will give you guys some shout outs. So if you comment below, we'll do that. And then if you do have any questions as we're going through today's broadcast for Ira, definitely leave a comment below. And some of the folks that are watching on Facebook, I'm going to have the opportunity to pull you up on screen. Looks like Chris is outside going for a walk. We have Keisha Kent, who's really interested in hearing the topic. She's watching us from St. Louis. So I'm able to pop some of your Facebook comments up on screen. On LinkedIn, I'll go onto the network in a little while and see your comments. But what I'd like to do, Ira, to get things started is have you take a moment, introduce yourself, tell people who you are, what's your day job, and then tell us a little bit about some of your passion projects and how you got involved in the space of helping people with their job search.
Yeah, sorry. If you see me looking to the side here, I have split screens. I'm going to try to monitor the comments on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
To see if I can, I like to incorporate people, as you said.
Yeah, it's like multitasking though, right? And it's like, it's hard because like, I don't know about you, like my camera's like up here, I'm going to point at it. Like my camera's up there. And then my laptop screen, when I'm looking at Ira in the eyes, I'm looking down, and then I've got my phone, which is where I usually look for my comments. But it's like it's like you're, you got the whole dashboard in front of you, got to navigate, right?
Yeah. And the other thing that I've learned is you got to, like, if you're on this, we're a little bit ahead of what people.
Yeah. What's it, about 30 seconds or so?
Yeah, it depends. It depends on how fast the internet's working. But like right now, you just touch the screen, so that's But it's the sound thing. When I bring people in, it's like, hey, you got it, or we're gonna have this echo chamber. It's really awful. Anyways.
Yeah, kind of like when you're on the radio and they say you got to turn your radio down because you'll hear the echo in the background.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to answer your question. So my name is Ira. Obviously, if you don't know me, hello. I'm not a celebrity. Listen,
you are a celebrity. Stop yourself right there.
Treat me like I am one, but I'm just a print nerd from the West Coast. I was actually born on the East Coast, but raised on the West. So I've pretty much lived in the West most of my life. But I am in the print business. So my day job, you might see it. I got my ARC shirt on representing for it's the largest reprographics company in the whole world.
Awesome.
And people go, what is reprographics? It's not repossession like a tow truck, right? We're not coming to get your car from you. We do plan printing, you know, so like when they do buildings, the big repro plans. So think like blueprints. That's basically what we do. But I also do our company is much more than that. We do equipment, we do signs, we do interior decor and things like that. So anyways, all things print related is what I do for a living, and I have done it for 20 years. I'm an outside sales rep. I live in Southern California. So I actually just
How's the weather there today? Is it beautiful and sunny as always, or?
It's wonderful. That's why. Yeah, it's wonderful. So I moved down here in December of 2019. So right at the end of last year from the Bay Area. So it's a little bit, I'm still breaking in here, but that's what I do for a living. The Project Help You Grow is my job website. And that basically the whole point of that, I had Dealers League, who's a developer company, create the website for me, and I run it. It's my thing. I'm a one-man band. I don't have a staff. I don't have a lot of people think it's like this big corporation. No, it's just me. It's my website. And what we do on there is it's I like to tell people it's an analogy like a bridge. Okay, if you're a job seeker, it helps you connect to recruiters and employers. If you're a recruiter, it helps you connect the candidates to the employers. And if you're an employer, it helps you connect to the candidates, and it's all free. So that's what makes it unique. You'll notice you've got the site up now. You'll notice that there are no pop-ups. There are no ads. There's no
there's no like subscribe to my newsletter, you know, things or
In fact, the only time you'll ever get an email, even if you do sign up for an account, which you don't have to do anything on my site, you don't have to have an account, which makes it unique. So if you're searching for a job incognito, let's say you have a job and you want to find a new one, but you don't want your boss to know, you don't sign up for an account, and you don't have to worry about that. But if you want to, you can, and that will help you with your personal SEO. Like if you go to Google and Google your name, if you sign up for an account on my page, it'll be like the first thing you see when you Google your name, because I have really good domain authority and page ranks. So on this site, basically what I do is a couple different things. The most important thing is right there in the middle where it says podcast and blog. Okay, that is what most people do wrong with the job search, is they treat the job search like they did 10 years ago. Right? Years ago. Well, you know, I'm going to have this really killer resume. I might hire somebody to write my resume, and I'm just going to stick it out there 100 times, and somebody's going to be interested, and they're going to call me back. And it's just not the way it works anymore. So what I do in the blog is I write, and I have a couple guest authors who will write for me too. But we teach everything from like how to run your day. So if you're really bad at time management, you can read my blog on time management as a job seeker, and it'll teach you how to set up your day to be effective. Let's say you're writing a resume or you're applying to a bunch of jobs and you're not getting any response. You're like just crickets, right? You put them out there and nobody's responding. I have a blog that'll teach you how to set up your resume to be ATS compliant.
That's awesome.
Get you that response that you're looking for. And then once you get the job, if you see that green one there where it says win the interview, that's all about interview prep. That's the most comprehensive interview prep you're going to find anywhere for free. Really, that most people are going to charge a lot. And I mean hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for the information I share there for free. And that's the whole point of this website. The website is not to just make you feel good. It's to actually help you do, but you have to do the work. But if you read it and you do the work, you're going to get more out of your search. You're going to find a better job. I have people that have found a job within a week just by reading and incorporating some of the strategies that I put in place. So, you know, to go from a job search for 6 months to a year with no results to all of a sudden finding a job or getting multiple offers very quickly. And it's not magic. I tell people, like, if you're coming to my site and you expect me to give you a job, you don't understand the point of that. This is teach a man how to fish. This is not give a man a fish.
Right. Yeah, you got to empower them with the right tools. So why are, I mean, you said earlier you're a print nerd. So why is a print nerd involved in this? Why are you doing this? You know, what are,
so how did the genesis of all this? Okay. So in the world that I am, which is the construction world. So architects, engineers, construction, a lot of people work for a company for a project. When the project is over, they have to go to another job. They're out of a job. Basically, they have to find another job. So because I was always going from one job site to the next job site, I started getting requests from people like, hey, what other jobs do you know that are hiring? because this one's almost over and I need to find my next gig.
Gotcha.
And so
Okay.
I started doing that 20 years ago, helping people, connect.
You
And
did it before it was even cool, before LinkedIn was doing it, right?
I did. Yeah, I like to help people. I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to boil it down to its basic element, the bottom line is, if you look at everything I do,
Yeah.
my heart is to help. So that's my heart. So Project Help You Grow actually didn't start to be a job assistance thing at all. It started as a project because you say that I have a large network now, but if you go back to May 2018, I had 1,520 connections.
Wow.
I didn't have hardly any. And
Yeah.
so I wanted to grow.
Wait a minute, 1,520, like 1,520? Is that even right? Like 2 years ago?
Yeah, literally.
That's crazy.
And I had only 1,400 of those 1,520 were actually following me. So I had less followers than connections, which is unheard of. But anyways, that was my reality. And so I said, okay, well, I know I need to grow, but what can I do to grow, to build my network, my social media as a whole? I don't know what to do. So I came up with this idea of Project Help You Grow. Is like, okay, if I could get 99 strangers basically to agree to all connect with each other, we'll all grow by 100 in a short period of time. And the reason I chose 100, it was just kind of a random number, but the reason why I chose it was because that was my year-over-year growth rate. So I figured if I could get a year's worth of growth in a week or two, and that's all the project was supposed to ever last. This was back in August of 2018. In August of 2018, I was like, okay, if I could get 100 this week, that would be a year's worth of growth, and I will be extremely happy, and everybody else will grow too. And that was the idea. Well, it's funny. I made a post about it, and I had 400 connection requests that day. Not that week, that day.
Wow.
So, wow, this is something. I'm onto something, right? I mean, it was like a stroke of lightning. Okay, so what I did then is I created this group, Project Help You Grow.
Okay.
And I got a lot of people joined it, thousands of people, in fact. And over half the people that were joining were like, this is awesome, but you know what I really need help with? Can you help me find a job? And that's where I was tired of saying no. I said no hundreds of times at first, but I'm like, I'm just not in a position to help you. I don't know what to do. But then I thought, okay, well, let me figure a system out that I can help people. And I always wanted to make sure it was free help.
Yeah.
They're without a job. And I wanted to make sure it wasn't only regional. Because those were really before, those were the only people I could help were people in San Francisco.
Yeah, the people in your area, right? Yeah.
Because that's where I knew people, right? It's who you know too, which is why we all want to network. I don't care where your social media network at, right? LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you're at.
Right.
Be social. That's the whole point. Get to know people. But so I'm like, okay, so geographically, I don't want it to be limited, and I don't want to financially make a burden for anybody. In fact, I didn't want people to think that I had financial motives for this.
Yeah. No, I like that it was kind of a passion project for you originally, and it sounds like you gained a lot of great knowledge in the area, Ira. So the topics for today is job search and networking through the pandemic and beyond. And I'd like to kind of segue into that now. So I know you have a lot of great tips and advice for people, and I'm sure we're going to have some questions coming in from job seekers on LinkedIn. So what advice do you have for people? I mean, we're kind of in an interesting time right now with the pandemic, Yeah.
So what I want to tell people is the first thing that you need to do is focus on you, not everybody else. So if you're a job seeker and you're struggling, you need to identify where you are at in the process and where you're basically hitting the wall. So if you are making applications that you think you're qualified for, now you have to be honest. You have to really be qualified. Now, this is not the time, and we can come back to this idea, but it's not the time to try to elevate.
Oh, I could do that. Like, you don't have experience, but you're like, oh, I could do that, right?
Right, because that used to be normal. Like to get a promotion, you switch companies and you would stretch. But right now, because of the ATS, you cannot do that. You're actually more likely to be promoted from within than by switching. And that's not the way it's always been. That's a paradigm change, and people need to recognize that. Okay. But let me get back to the basic, where are you at? So if you are, and this is a self-evaluation you have to do, because this is the reason you're not getting hired. So you have to figure out, okay, if I'm not getting a call back, if I'm putting myself out there and nobody's responding, that means there's a problem with your resume, CV, or your cover letter. And maybe it's just the strategy that you're not using those things correctly, right? Right? Don't be flippant about this thing. You have to be very specific. Okay, so if you're not getting response, that's your problem.
Okay.
I can help you. You just need to come onto my website and read those things about those things, right?
I love it. And it's self-serve on the website. People can kind of navigate around.
And you can contact me with questions. Go to the contact page and you can reach out to me if you're like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah.
I can either help you directly or I can put you in touch with a professional that can help you depending on what you need. Right.
So do you have like resources where you send people for like resume review or career strategy? Okay.
Yeah. Career coaches, headhunters, all that stuff. Yep.
Okay.
Resume writers, video coaches for people. We'll talk about this too. Some people
Video interviews. Yeah.
People don't know how to get online. They don't have their lighting right. They don't have their backgrounds right. They don't understand how to do this stuff. You don't want to be looking, your nose. You don't want to have.
Yeah. Right.
We don't want to be looking at your ceiling fan. And I mean, I see all kinds of stuff. Right. So that's part of it too. That's part of the interview prep. But if you're applying, you're getting the interviews, but you're not getting any offers.
Okay.
Then your interview prep is not right.
Okay.
Okay. So you got to identify where you're at. And some people want to move. They want to relocate, but they're not doing the relocation prep work before they apply. So they'll apply to a job that's in some other place. They'll get the interview, and then the interviewer is going to find out that they're not legally able to work in that place. And that's a problem.
Okay.
And I have that addressed too. In fact, I cover that more than anything else on my website because it's the number one issue I run into for job seekers. They think the grass is greener in some other place. I get it. I don't understand what it is. The life is the same pretty much almost everywhere. Like you still have.
I think you can have a good leader or a manager that can change that dynamic a bit, but I mean, there's still problems, and there's people you're not going to get along with, and there's.
I'm talking about location now, not job.
Okay, sorry.
You want to live. You live in Michigan, and you want to live in London because you fantasized that London or romanticized it that it's a wonderful place, and it's not necessarily what you think it is. A lot of people who come to me have never even visited the place that they want to go. It's like, you want to live someplace? And so I talk about that. I had interviewed a lady by the name of Juliana Robbie, and she is a former headhunter. She's also in HR now. She's worked both sides. She has relocated several times too. So she's one of the experts in this. She's been doing this for nearly 20 years. And I interviewed her. The interview was so well, I made it the number one thing when you go to my podcast page. It's the number one interview that you see. And then I also wrote a subsequent blog about it because there was so much compacted information in there. And I know that not everybody's going to watch a 10-minute interview. So I drew it out. And that was my number one read blog ever, by the way.
Wow.
Also one of my number one posts on social media.
I'm going to try to find her on LinkedIn right now. Is it Juliana Robbie? Is that Robbie?
I will. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? Check this out. I'm going to tag her in the comments.
Awesome. It's so cool being on like a live with somebody who's like, and we're both using StreamYard, so you're very comfortable with it and navigating around. So that's awesome. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, I just put her in the comments. She's a good person to have on your show too. She Portugal and Spain is where she oscillated. I think she went from Portugal to Spain, if I remember it right. But again, I have dyslexia, so I always mess stuff up. So anyways.
You're good.
But the other thing that people struggle with too is compensation.
And
in that interview tips, that's one of the things that people need to understand is like, if you get the interview and you ask for a number that's too high, right, you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot. So you need to do your homework. You need to know what you need. You need to know what the job is most likely to pay based on the market, right? And then go in asking for something that's reasonable. Yep, that's her right there.
There you go. Cool. Okay.
Yep, Juliana Robbie. She's a wonderful person. She's been on my show actually a couple times. And as you can see there, she's a career consultant now. She helps people with strategy and their documents, and she speaks several languages. I just had another lady on my show, Tina, which is Tiina, which threw me because there's two I's. But anyways, she speaks 9 languages. I mean, some of these people are way smarter than I am.
Wow.
Right? I've been doing it a long time too. So you had said I've learned a lot. I really have. I'm a nerd. I study hard, and I've been doing this basically as a full-time job after hours for the last 2 years. So in that time, I've talked to a lot of people. A lot of people know me now for this. They don't even know I'm in the print business. This is how they know me, and I'm totally fine with it. But I speak with somebody from HR every day. I speak with somebody from a recruiting firm every day. I speak to headhunters. I speak to coaches. I mean, this is just
And then you got people like me going, hey, Ira, can you come on my podcast? Can you come on my LinkedIn Live? And you're like, I got so many things. Right? But I appreciate you making the time for me and coming on. It's so nice,
sure.
to have. I just feel like the energy, like you and I are doing some similar things in terms of spotlighting others and helping others and growing visibility. And it's been really exciting. I think you were one of the first people, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe the first person to graduate off of my list. Were you the first? I kind of feel like you were. If not the first, like you were one of the first. So I have like
there was one person that I was racing with.
Yeah.
Adam, or I can't remember.
Lacey, let me show you. I'm going to show you guys my screen. This is like you're going to a very rare look into my rock star list, because I don't share this publicly, meaning like I publish the list out, but I don't usually share my spreadsheet. I don't like share it with people.
Yeah, Lacey Abachi and I have been connected for years.
Yeah. Lacey, I mean, this is going to publish this weekend. So these numbers are from April 19th, and you're already, I think, 139,000. But this list is descending order. So this is like lowest follower count to highest. You're in the 100K plus club. But Adam Karpiak I feel like he was on the list already.
No, Austin. That's
Austin, because Austin does like career coaching and career strategy and stuff too, I think, right?
From Canada. Yeah. So Austin and I were racing. He beat me by a week.
Yeah, but it was a fun race, right?
It was a fun race. In fact, he was pushing me and I was pushing him. It was fun. Like we're not competing. He's doing what he's doing. Like this is not my space for money at all. Right.
So no, it's just for it. I mean, it's I don't want to say it's for fun, because it's really for helping people. There's certain great value that you're putting out to people.
It's a philanthropy. Yeah. That's how I look at it. Some people call it ministry. You can call it whatever you want. Volunteering. I do it but I work it like a job. It's not something that I take. I've never taken a week off. I've taken days off for sure, but I've never taken a whole week off. Even when I'm on vacation, I do.
Because it doesn't feel like work for you. I mean, it's something that makes you happy, right?
It's not work. Yeah. It's not work.
Right.
The best part of my day, most days, is going into my inbox and seeing who got a job.
Yeah, that's exciting. All right. Yeah.
And I don't publish any of that. Some people get mad at me. They're like, "Well, tell us how many people you help find jobs." I'm like, you know what? They're free to do that if they want, but I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? I'm not going to do that.
That's personal to them. So, I mean, we're in this phase of, pandemic right now. What is changing, or what advice do you have for people that are job searching now, and whether they were in career transition before it all happened, or they've been furloughed, laid off? It's devastating, going through this and then not knowing when you're going to get that next position. So what advice do you have for people right now, Ira?
First of all, the number one thing is don't stop searching. It's I think most people have figured that out by now, but in the beginning of this thing, I had a lot of people coming to me going, "Hey, what should I do in preparation for when I should start searching again?" I'm like, "What? You need to keep searching now. Don't stop." Because like I was telling people back then, and I think most people get it now, we don't know when this thing's going to end.
Right.
We don't know if it's going to be 4 weeks or 4 years. You just don't know some of the stuff that's changed. I like to use the word paradigm, and I don't know that everybody understands paradigm, right? But just the processes that were up to this point are different than what they are now moving forward. And some of the paradigm shifts that have happened right now in the middle of COVID-19, like self-isolation and most interviews are done remotely.
Virtually, video, right? Yeah.
So we'll talk about that in a second, because that's a big part of what they need to do. But anyways, a lot of that stuff may not come back. You know what I mean? Like a remote workforce.
It's so hard to even wrap my mind around that. Like I feel like I'm going, what do you mean Ira's never going to come back? I can't believe we're not. I was having a conversation with my husband about a week or so ago, and he's like, yeah, I don't think we're going to handshake people at events anymore. I'm like, that's crazy. Like we were handshaking people up until February 28th. How are we not handshaking anymore?
I don't think that I will be handshaking anymore.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'm going to do the knuckle bump.
Really?
Look, I'm a bit of a germaphobe as it is.
Yeah.
I was a closet germaphobe, though. Like I didn't like to let people know.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
What's that?
We don't know moving forward.
Yeah.
If that's going to be the norm or not. But we do know this. There's certainly a lot more people who are going to be thinking about it, and you've got to be careful not to offend other folks. You know what I mean? It's like it's not, it's just something you need to be sensitive about. So
Yeah.
the handshaking and all that stuff, it is weird. I've met with clients during
Mm-hmm.
19 because I'm actually considered an essential employee, right? So we're still
Right.
out there because we're doing safety signage and things like that for.
Right. Yeah. Because you've been incorporating kind of what you're doing into the needs that are out there right now.
Yeah. So we're
Yeah.
helping offices set up like, wait here, you must wear a mask.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All that kind of stuff, right? On the floors in the restrooms and all. I mean, stuff that in the elevators, where do you stand in the elevator? Like we're putting graphics. So we're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I've met with clients, this week, last week, the week before that in person. And it's like, we're not shaking hands. It's so weird.
Yeah, it feels weird, but I mean, we had this a couple years back, and I don't remember what it was, Ebola or something, but it was like something was going around, and then we all stopped shaking hands at conferences for a couple months, and then it kind of blew over, and then we reverted back, and the hand sanitizer sprays were like the big promo item that year. Right. Here's my prediction. Here's the next big promo item. I don't know if you've seen this little device that has like the hook for opening the door and the button.
I'm going to get one.
I'm like, whoever's in the promo business, get your name out now and start like marketing the heck out of that, because once we're back out in public, nobody's going to want to touch a door handle. And even elevator. I'm at the ATM the other day and I'm like, do I have a pen in here I could use to touch or use my pinky, and then I'm hand sanitizing it right afterwards. But
so some of the elevator things that we're doing is we're putting in this thing. They basically have, think like cork board, but they put toothpicks. Bunches of toothpicks. Pick a toothpick and then you hit the number and then you throw that in the garbage.
Throw the toothpick away and then it's disposable.
Yeah. Because the problem with that hook thing, I've seen it and I like it. The problem is, once you touch it, the germs travel up the thing and then on your hand. So what you need to do is use it, but then sanitize it.
Sanitize it, like spray it down or something.
Right.
And, so unless it's made of a material that's antimicrobial or whatever that thing is called.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's the only reason I haven't bought one yet. But I do want to get it.
So I heard you say don't stop. Did I put that up on screen? Yes. So don't stop searching.
Yeah, don't stop searching.
I think there's a fallacy built in there. Well, there's no jobs out there, so I'm not going to look right now, or nobody's interviewing, so I'm not going to look right now. But what we saw, I mean, we're seeing it on your website, we're seeing it on LinkedIn. There's still jobs, and companies are hiring right now.
There's actually some jobs that are hiring more than they were before. So, let's talk about statistics a little bit, just in the United States. So a few weeks ago, it was 6.9 million new unemployment people joined the rolls of the unemployment to get to 20 million, I think, at the time. And then, the subsequent labor report that came out, it was only 3.9 million that joined. So it had slowed down. The new unemployed people, there was less, right? It's trending back down. So right now, as far as I know, there's somewhere about 22 million unemployed in the United States. Globally, that's a United States. Those are all United States figures. But here's the thing. Companies right now are starting to recall people that were on furlough.
The furloughs are coming back now. Yeah.
So those numbers are going to continue to drop. But obviously, people in the medical field, people in logistics, people in sanitation, those industries were skyrocketing. Even delivery companies for like restaurants and stuff. So they were.
Oh yeah, that was already. What is it called? Uber Eats and I mean, like they can call McDonald's and they can deliver. I'm like, we'll just drive to McDonald's. It's not a problem,
Yeah, all that stuff. So what I want people to do is the next thing. Okay, so you're not searching. I want you to consider what's called your soft skills.
Okay.
So your soft skills are the things like I'm good at typing, I'm good at customer service, I'm good at, or maybe I'm bilingual,
right?
Maybe whatever, how to write, maybe how to put it together, videos, things like that. Soft skills that you could look at an industry that maybe you're not from, but there's a job inside it that you're completely qualified to do. So that's not a stretch or a growth. You're not trying to go from, customer service rep 3 to customer service manager, or from sales rep to vice president of sales, something like that. You're not trying to jump. You're just trying to switch markets and go, okay, well, I've always been in the print business as an outdoor sales rep. Maybe I want to go look at, selling pharmaceuticals or something like that.
Yeah, sales is a transferable skill there, right?
If you read through the list and you have all the education requirements and you have all the different experience, except for the in-industry things that you might not know.
Right.
Apply for those jobs. Here's what I want you to do. There's sources that are free, like JobScan. Go to JobScan, put the job listing in, and then put your resume in, and it'll scan it for a keyword match. If you're over 80%, you're going to get an interview.
Yeah.
Most likely. I can't promise you, but that's how the AI works in these ATSs. So the other thing that people really need to do is they need to stop using the pray and spray method of putting out your resume. You needed to do that already, but a lot of people haven't. So here's what I mean. Yep.
Sorry, I couldn't get that one up fast enough, Ira. I have to put this up.
Okay.
But this is the one where you can like literally you can upload and you get so many freebies, right? You can upload your resume, put in the job posting, and then it says, hey, you're 70% match, and here's what's missing. Like you don't have the education, you don't have this. I mean, guys, this is brilliant. If you're a job seeker, you got to check this out. And I don't know how many you get, Ira, before you have to pay, or do you have to sign up? I don't remember what it was.
You get 5 free.
5 free. Okay.
Yep. And here's the thing, you don't have to ever pay, because if you go to projecthelpyougrow.com, I'll teach you how to do what they're doing automatically, manually, so they can do it for free. Again, it's more work, but you can do exactly the same thing. In fact, I think it's actually better. So if you go to projecthelpyougrow.com, there's a blog there that's called, sorry, I forgot, it's ATS something. I know what it looks like. I'm pulling it up on mine, so I'll tell you in just a second.
I don't think you as a guest can share things in the StreamYard, can you?
I cannot. But ATS, it's ATS Screening Strategy, How to Earn the Interview is the name of the blog. I'll put it in the comments.
Drop it in the LinkedIn comments, and then I'll grab it from there. Yep. Guys, Ira and I were like laying it out, pulling it back. We're like going back and forth.
Okay, so in that, if you kind of go to the bottom, I teach you how to do this manually. And basically what you're looking for, this is the thing that most people don't understand. Okay, so you read your resume and you read the job description and you go, okay, well, obviously I'm qualified. Well, it's not obvious because the person looking at it isn't a person, it's an AI, it's a computer. Okay. So what happens in the filter, it's like the spaghetti filter. You got to get past the streamer, whatever that thing is called, right?
Yeah.
You put the noodles in and then you put the water through and the water comes out, but the noodles stay there, the strainer, right?
Yeah.
So you want to be the water in that analogy. So what you have to do is, like, let's say we use the word sales, but for whatever reason in the keywords, they're using the word selling or sold. You know, it's the same idea, but it's a different phrase. You have to use the exact keyword match. So if it's selling and not sells or sale, then you have to revise, edit. So I'm not talking about a major overhaul here. Once you have your resume or your CV, as they call it around the world, when you have that ready to go, it's built, it's ATS compliant. Then for every job submission, you edit it before you submit that one. And you need to absolutely 100% of the time use a cover letter unless it says do not send a cover letter. Okay. Your cover letter needs to also keyword match. They both do. Because some will filter the cover letter and some won't. Okay. Yeah. And by the way, stop using PDFs. Yeah. Really? Because I've heard it's better to lock it up in a PDF so it doesn't shift around and stuff. What? Stop using PDF. Do not use PDFs. Why? Okay. So here's the thing. ATS stands for Applicant Tracking Software. Applicant Tracking Software is not one universal program. There's one set of rules. There's thousands, not hundreds, not 1,000. Thousands of these things. Taleo makes the #1 used ATS system in the United States. 19% of companies that last check use Taleo. So if you're going to bend to one, bend to Taleo. And I'll give you a link to that in that blog that you just ATS blog that we just shared. Down to the bottom, I put resources. Is that crazy? I put resources, the list. Where did I get all this information? It's all in there. So why not PDF? Do they not like it, or? Let me talk about that. Okay. So here's why not PDF. For years, we trained everybody PDF, everything PDF. But here's the thing. When it goes into one of these screenings, some of the screenings basically are stupid. It's the only way I can say it. They're dumb screens. And this is computer technology that you're referring to, not people, right? This is the AI. This is the artificial intelligence. This is dumb as a rock. Here's why. Okay. When it looks at the PDF, it looks at it like a JPEG. It doesn't read each individual word. Really? Okay, so most people don't understand how the ATS actually works. What happens is they don't read your resume, the human being. What they read is the reassembled information so that everybody's stuff is in the same format. Because people use a million different types of resumes, that's the problem. Okay. So you might have your name in this font and this size on the right, and I have it on the left, and blah, 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 blah. Right. up and down, we have different job section titles, we have different formats, the way we separate stuff, spacing. So what this does is it breaks it all down and it puts it in their ATS, which is like a CRM. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So that's how it really works. The problem with the PDF, the same problem that I have. Do not put your picture in your resume. Do not put any pictures in your resume.
Yeah, no graphics. And I see like graphic designers or people in kind of artistic fields that will do that. Like, I remember somebody I saw, it was a resume, it was like a picture of the devil in the background. I'm like, what?
I will tell you the exception to the rule is if you're applying to a company that's owned by an individual or a family and they're small, they're not using ATS, then you can do that.
Right, right. If you know it's a human being, but even then, Ira, if you bring your resume to an interview, you want to have it formatted, right? I mean, if you come to an actual in-person interview, you want to have it look nice.
You need to have the ATS compliant. Here's why. And a lot of people are making this mistake. You don't know what's going to happen in that resume after. So you say, okay, well, I've already got the interview, so I'm going to give them the pretty one, right? Look, I make graphics for money. People pay me to make pretty pictures. I love it. But here's the problem. That person may not be the last person. You might have another round of interviews to go. And if you give them, they're likely going to scan in and add to the ATS. And guess what you just did?
Okay.
You just killed your ATS score, your keyword match score, because now it's not going to recognize those pretty pictures and those hyperlinks and all those things that you did incorrectly. I teach you how to do it on my blog. So
well, let's send people to the blog to learn more about that. Ira, we're actually we could keep going for hours and hours in here, and I'm realizing the hour is slipping away from us quickly here. I'd like to maybe open this up to comments and questions, if that'd be all right, Ira.
Yeah, and I just want to answer your question about the PDF real fast. I'll make it succinct. The reason why it doesn't work is because it doesn't read each individual word on some of them. Some it does, and it's not a problem, but some it doesn't. So what happens is you submit a perfectly formatted resume, you're qualified. It reads it as a picture, and your keyword match is 0.
Wow.
Because it didn't
So what should you be using instead of a PDF? Should it be a Word doc, or should it be a text document, or what do you recommend then?
Word doc is number 1, text doc is number 2, and I have that all that information, how you should format, the type of fonts, the sizes, the colors, all that stuff. It's in the blog.
Awesome. Okay, really good tip there. And I hadn't even thought about that. I kind of heard, you hear advice from people, and it's based on their experience, their point of view. And then you hear advice from someone else and it's different, but you have to understand why, where's that advice coming from? And I kind of heard the PDF locks it up so it looks nice. And what I heard you say is the PDF locks it up and it creates a graphic so it doesn't read it at all. So it's actually better to have it unformatted.
If they don't have character recognition software in their ATS, which a lot of them don't, then you have a problem. And you don't know which ATS system the company that you're applying to is using. That's the other problem. If you did, then you would know.
Right.
And I reached out, just so you guys understand where this is coming from, I reached out to the actual manufacturers, the creators of the ATS softwares, and had conversations with them. I didn't take this as hearsay from somebody or, this is my best guess. I actually, like I said, I did my own research.
Your own research on it.
I was tired of hearing conflicting information, frankly.
Yeah, because it's confusing, right? When you're in that mode of looking for a job and you're hearing different advice and whatnot. All right. So let's go into some questions. And I want to give some shout outs to some folks that are coming in here. And I've been popping up the Facebook comments as they've been coming in. And I'm just going to throw this up on screen here real quick. If you do go on facebook.com, Meller Marketing, I can pull your comment up on screen. But I'm going to go into LinkedIn right now and see who's been on with us and give you guys some shout outs here. So let's see who we got with us today. I'm going to start from the bottom of the list and kind of go up on here. Lots of comments coming in. You got a big network there. So we have Sharon Carr joining us, Tina Marie Woolfield. Nice to see you. A nice dose of pie, she says here today. I know you prefer cheesecake, Tina Marie. The Marshall says, good evening. Jacob Levy from Metro Detroit. He's a career coach and content creator. Check him out. Juman says hi. Veronica says hello. We have Marie, a first timer from Southern California. Welcome, Marie. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, where in Southern California? I'm in the Inland Empire.
She says Southern California. So Marie, I'm not sure where you're located. If you want to comment back, let Ira know, but maybe you can check out her comment too.
20 million people or so.
Yeah, I know, a lot. It's a big area. We have Julie Antioch joining us. Renee Ruhlman. Hello, ladies. Nice to see you. Morris says hi. Laura Tomlinson says hi. We have Julie saying hello. William Anderson. Nice to see you, William. Christine was tagged by Julie, I should say here. Julie's asking if anyone else is from Michigan. We've got a lot of people from the Mitten, Tina Marie says. Sandy Harvey is on here as well.
I almost went to Grand Rapids one time.
Oh, is that right? Well, when you come in Michigan, I will. If the world is opened up, when you come into Michigan, we'll have to meet up for a coffee or
You bet. My treat.
catch up in person. We have Joseph Stepke who says, "Hi, Ira Bowman." And you know Joseph?
Yeah, he and I work on social media concierge together, and just let Joe know that Batman rules. Wait, I gotta say this right. Superman
Batman rules.
Batman rules. It's the opposite. He's a Batman guy. I'm a Superman guy, so I gotta tease him.
Okay, Batman, Superman. I'll just say Batman, Superman, etc., and he'll know what we're talking about here.
He'll know.
I'm dropping the comment in right now. All right, we have Scott Rather, who's joining us. Hey, Scott. Rob Deptford saying, great job search insights. Glad that you found these helpful, Rob.
Rob's on my team too. So awesome. It's Erica Warfield, it's Virginia Charnowski, it's Joe Stepke, it's Rob Deptford. Russ Burns is actually on a break, but he's on our team, and myself.
Okay, I'm going to give you a question from Juman as I finish the comments off here, and then I'll let you respond to this after I do those comments. So Juman says, your website is great. Ira, how about executives, how to move from upper management to executive management? And while you think about that, Janice is saying there's going to be long-term cultural norm change. We completely agree with you there, Janet. And Ryan Petty mentioned he's been submitting Word docs and thought he was making a huge mistake, but he's saying thanks for the sigh of relief. So he reaffirmed what he's doing. Ira, so what about executives?
Every single ATS program accepts Word.
Yeah. Okay. That's really good to know. It's really helpful. Yeah.
The only one that's 100% bulletproof. So if that was Ryan, whoever that was.
Yeah, that was Ryan who says he's been doing Word documents and he thought he was making a mistake, but he says, he's feeling good.
The other mistake a lot of people are making is they're using horizontal lines. Don't do that.
So, horizontal, like the breaks in between paragraphs, like
so no underlines. No, you can use a dash or a hyphen one, but don't use multiple because it confuses the ATS system. So
okay. So keep it clean. Just some spaces and paperage and stuff there.
Think like old school computer type. Just keep it like that. That's all you want.
Okay. So Ira, the question about moving into executive positions, moving from upper management to executive management. Do you have any tips or resources there?
Yeah, there's really 3 ways you can do that, right? Start your own company. A lot of people are doing that right now, right? And so like I just founded irabowman.com for my media and for my coaching stuff. And so I'm the executive there. That's not probably what he's talking about, but that's one way to do it. Another thing to do, obviously, is to get promoted from within. So, for example, if you work for a large company, like I work for ARC, right? And if I want to be promoted up the ladder, I can do a couple things. First of all, I need to talk to somebody that's in HR and let them know, like, hey, I am wanting to ascend this ladder.
Yes. Make a flag on my employee folder, if you will, right?
Yeah, talk to them.
Let them know. You can't just wait for them to go, Ira's great, we should promote him. You got to tell them, flag my file for a promotion someday, right?
Yep, and we have internal recruiters, as a lot of large companies do. So you reach out to the internal recruiter team and say, look, when you have a position open up, I want to be considered.
Yeah.
It's really sometimes that simple, because a lot of times they just assume you don't.
Right.
And the other thing is, the more flexible you are with that, like say you're willing to relocate.
Yeah.
I work for a company with 170 locations in the United States, and we have 30 locations outside the United States. So if I'm flexible to relocate, then that should increase my chances too. The other thing is get involved in industry. This is networking now, who you know, right? So expand who you're connecting to. So like I'm in a print industry network. In fact, I'm in several. So if I want to go from, management to upper management or the C-suite, right? I need to make sure that I'm building my reputation, right?
Yeah.
It's not,
and also you're also building kind of your contact list of people that can help you and that you can refer business to or pull business from, right?
Here's what happens a lot of times. People will, especially even in the print industry, just as an example, because that's the one I'm in. What will happen is, people have, like I used to work for Taylor Industries and I worked for ARC. I've worked for some major companies, right? I worked for Thomas Reprographics, which is now Thomas Printworks in Texas. So when they have regions, multiple regions, a lot of times they'll go from district managers and then the next step up is VPs or C-level, right?
Okay.
So I just kind of lost half of my body there. I don't know what happened. Sorry. I got a virtual screen on. What you need to do, you need to make sure that you are talking to the ownership team. sometimes, the way these companies are hierarchied, you're not really supposed to communicate above your manager, right? Your
Okay.
direct report is a VP, and the owner will say, hey, you need to just stay there. And what you need to do is you need to befriend them. You need to network with them outside of work.
Mhm.
Somehow. So if they're having parties, if they're going to networking events, if they're going to be at events that are it's feasible for you to go to, you need to get there because you need to build that relationship. Most
Mhm.
people, to get pulled up into that highest level of leadership team, they need to be a part of the club. To get part of the club, they need to know who you are.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
if you weren't hired by the person who owns your company, which like at all these companies that I just referenced, at Taylor, at Thomas Repro, and at ARC, I wasn't hired by the owner,
Mhm.
is our CEO, right? I wasn't hired by them. I wasn't hired by anybody that reports directly to him. I was hired by people, 3 and 4 levels down. So if
Right.
you want to get and climb that ladder, I'm saying the best way to do it is try to do it internally. You need to work those strategies. Hopefully that answer made sense. If not, you can reach out to me privately and we can talk about your specific situation.
All right. I have 2 more questions for you, and then we're going to wrap here, Ira. The one question is, what advice do you have for people for staying motivated? And this question comes from Marlon. Any tips for staying motivated in the job search if you were already unemployed pre-COVID? Because now we're in a different world right now. So what advice do you
Yeah,
have?
I deal with this every day. I get
Mhm.
the defeatists. The people are like, they come to me and they've tried 100 things. They're already wore out. It's
Yeah.
like, it's like, look, you can focus on what you've already done, or you can just do what you need to do, which is consider it spilt milk and go, okay, what can I do differently now
Yeah.
to get better results? And
Right.
that's really, I can't motivate you. You
Right.
want a job or you don't. You're willing to put in the work or you're not. But
Right.
if you're willing to put in the work, I'm going to teach you a better way to do it. And I'm not trying to brag and say like I'm the smartest guy in the room, because I defer a lot to most people, but I've done a
Right.
ton of research and I have a track record that's a couple years long now that I can look back and go, look, what I'm telling people to do, what I'm advising them to do, I'm coaching them to do, it does work. Some people
But
get it.
it's not like can they be handed to you. And
No,
I don't know
no,
if you heard that story, and it's if you're religious or not, but the story is like the person, like their house is flooding and they say to God, please save me. And
yeah,
then the boat comes by the first day and the person's like, hey, can we get you out of here? And the person's like, no, God will save me, God will save me. And then
yeah,
it continues to happen until they drown. They go up to heaven and they say to God, why didn't you save me? And then God says, well, what do you think the boats were for? And
right.
I
That's
and I tell
exactly right.
people, like, pay attention to the boats. Guys, this Ira, this guy, let me see if I can point to him right now. This guy right here, he's a boat. He wants to help you in your job search. So pay attention to him. Look
Yeah,
at his website, look at the resources, but you're not going to just go through the post and find a job. You got to do the work.
right.
And also be open. You mentioned earlier, soft skills, transferable skills, be open. You may not find the same thing or a level up from where you were. You might have to take something. And I don't want to say settle, but you may have to take what is available in the current market with, put me in a situation, guys. I will be successful in any given situation I'm in because I'm going to use all of my gifts and my talents. And if I'm not where I want to be, I will get there someday.
So we talked about religion for a second. Well,
Yeah.
I am a believer, but in the Bible, it talks about, Paul specifically talks about learning how to be abound or be a base. And what
Right.
that means is, what you're saying, to be at the top, I can live and be happy, or at the bottom, I can learn to be happy. And in the job search right now, maybe one thing that you could do, and it's something I did, is look for some side hustles, some side things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's not a main source of income. You're still going to continue to search and you can be picky as you want, but
Right.
you've got some money coming in, right?
Yeah.
And so I create logos for people. I do virtual backgrounds. I do all kinds of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what my irabowman.com is about. But
Yeah.
it's never to replace my day job. If you don't have a job, you need to want to stay motivated. Read my time management.
Mm-hmm.
Read my blog on time management. I'll put it up. Okay. The thing is, I basically volunteered to be your virtual boss. I'm not going to really be your boss. I'm not going to pay you, but I'm going to set up your day. And maybe this is what you need. What you need is some structure.
Because that's a problem when you're used to going from a structured environment to when you're in career transition, actively unemployed, nobody's standing over your shoulder. I mean, it's really easy not to wake up until 10 o'clock every day. And
Right.
not to have any focus to your day. You kind of meander and like you look up and it's like 1:30 and like I haven't done anything. I joined, guys. There's an accountability group. I join. It's like 6:30 in the morning every single day. Jan Griffiths runs it. And it's for anybody. It's like, come on in. We talk about our goals and we're done by 7. That's it. But I'm up at 6:30 every morning. But sometimes you need to create that structure, right, Ira?
That's exactly the point, right?
Yeah.
And so one of the things I teach people to do in that is to do some studying. So you're continually trying to improve your skills, because it's amazing the confidence boost you get when you learn how to do something new. It's like, oh, now I have something else to put on my resume. I have something to talk about in the interviews. I didn't waste all this COVID-19 time. When COVID-19 is done and you haven't learned any new skills or gotten better at any of your skills, that's a shame. That's something that I think you'll regret the longer this thing goes. I built my own website. I'd never done that before. I just got done doing that. Is it perfect? No, it's still got things to go. But a lot of people are like, oh,
right, yeah,
pretty amazing. And I did that myself. Learn, continually learn, be a student always. Yeah. But have a structure, hold yourself accountable, find an accountability partner. And it not necessarily should be family. Yeah. Find someone that you've worked with in the past who you like, maybe an old manager or something who cares about you. And I promise that will help.
Yeah. Find another job seeker, right? Somebody else who's maybe not in your same state or even in your same industry that you can say, once a week, we're going to have an accountability call and you guys talk about what you're going to do for the week. And then you talk about where you're at from a mood standpoint or whatever. And then come back a week later and say, okay, last week you said you were going to do this. Did you? Like you can build your own accountability partner, right?
Now I'm going to say something that's going to hurt a lot of people's feelings, but if you know me for 5 minutes, I'm a straight shooter. So here it is. Yeah. If you're struggling for 9 months to find a job, you need to quit eating out. You need to take that money. And if you smoke or drink alcohol, okay, so any of that stuff, you need to quit that. Take that money and hire yourself a professional to help you. Get yourself either a resume writer or a career coach or whatever you need. It's an investment in yourself. Yeah. Because obviously if it's 9 months and you don't have a job, you're not good at this. Yeah. Okay.
That's gonna sting for some people, Ira, but I appreciate where you're coming from, because nobody wants to be told their baby is ugly. Nobody wants to be told they suck at the job search process. Nobody wants to be told the reasons they're not. Because I think it can be.
Let me help with that, because I do have this conversation every day, right? What do you do for a living? Are you in HR? Are you a recruiter? Then your job, are you a hiring manager? Like your job is your expertise is something else. So let the people whose expertise is what it is to help you find that job, get back to doing what you're an expert at.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you've got a rattling in your car and you keep trying to troubleshoot and figure it out, and the rattling keeps happening time over time over time over time, and then in the meantime your car's mileage is decreasing or the life of the car is being cut short. Well, if you go to a mechanic, they can go right away, and you might have to pay a couple $100, but they're going to fix it right away, right? It's an investment.
Let's say I'm just going to throw some general numbers out. Okay, let's say you paid somebody $1,000, which is a lot of money for a lot of people. I understand, right? Yeah. Well, I just want easy numbers. So let's say you paid somebody $1,000 and you were able to find a job within a month, 2 months, because you spent that $1,000. Or you were to go and do it yourself over a 9-month period and not spend anything. And you saved yourself $1,000. But what did you really cost? And this is the thing people don't think about, the opportunity cost. Well, let's say you make $2,000. Yeah, let's say you make $2,000 a month. Well, in my hypothetical, you'd have at least 6 months worth of income at $2,000. That's 12.
Yeah,
that's
a good point.
You're up 11, and you have your dignity, and you're adding to your resume experience so that you can get that promotion later faster. There's so many different advantages to finding that good job sooner. I wish people would think about it in that way instead of just looking at the price tag and going, "Oh my God, I can't do it." I get it; it's a lot of money. There are people out there who will take payment plans. There are people, what I mean? There are ways to get it done. And I'm not saying everybody needs to pay. I'm saying for the person who has the prolonged search. You've been doing this 3 months. You were doing it before COVID started. Well, that means you're like 4 or 5 months in at least.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you, Ira. That's really good advice. Yeah.
And this is coming from a guy who doesn't charge anything for any of that help, by the way. You can go do it yourself. I'm just saying that there are coaches out there. There are people out there that do this for a living for a reason. And it might be time for you to do that.
That's awesome. Really good advice. Well, I think we're reaching our time here. I want to be respectful. I know you're real busy, Ira, and this has just been a great, amazing conversation. And there's a couple more questions that are coming in the comments. I know you'll probably look back at them. later. So I want to encourage you guys, if we didn't answer your question, if you're watching this in playback, still add your questions to the comments below. Let me see if I can put that little tickler up on screen again here.
You can reach out to me on projecthelpyougrow.com. I have a contact page, and on iraroman.com, I have a contact page. You don't have to be connected to me to get me a message.
But they can connect with you on LinkedIn, right? I put your URL up on screen.
So here's the problem with that.
They can follow you. Sorry, they can follow you though, right?
Yeah, they can. And I follow everybody back, by the way.
Yeah.
Right. So I follow over 140,000 people.
That's great.
So
great.
I love it. But yeah, I can't accept connection requests.
That's right, because Ira's network is and LinkedIn has kind of a connection request limit. I'm not sure if you guys know, but once you hit 30,000, you can't accept any new connects. So, but you can still follow Ira. So if you go to his profile, click on the follow button, and when you follow him, his updates will start to appear on your homepage feed. So do that. Make sure you follow him on LinkedIn, and then check out projecthelpyougrow.com. And Ira, any final comments today before we leave, or any shout outs or anything else you want to give before?
I want to thank you for having me on, and I want to encourage people, if they're not following those rock star lists, to jump on that, because there's a lot of amazing people. Like if you're looking for better content on social media, there's a lot of really cool people on that list, and they're down to earth. I'm gonna tell you, I've made a lot of friends off of that. Being involved, and that's basically the first 3 Saturdays of every month. She does the trainer, the LinkedIn trainer version. She does the non-trainer version, and then she does the one that I'm on now, which is the over 100,000. Which it's a lot of fun. Yeah. It's interesting. You'll meet a lot of people, and you can support this wonderful Brenda Meller. So
yeah, thank you. And you always do such a good job, Ira, too. I just want to say thank you for that too. Whenever I jump in, you always say hi, and then you talk about the rockstar list. I'm going to throw the hashtag in here so people can follow the hashtag. This weekend is the 100K plus list, and these are the big people on LinkedIn.
I'm just a baby on that list.
But the reason I put you at the top of the list, I'm like, the Gary Vaynerchuk's of the world don't need the visibility. They're getting it already. But I kind of feel like
they don't engage with the posts.
They have a team managing. You're a real person, and usually the people that get to the 100,000, and there's people like Shay Robot. I believe she still responds to some of her posts. I think she's probably got some team members helping her now. But you're one of the people, I feel like you're genuinely you, and you engage with the post. So I'm going to shine the spotlight on you versus the Gary Vaynerchuks, who are never going to. He doesn't know who I am. He doesn't reply to me.
Well, that's his loss, by the way.
But that's okay, because you know what? Somebody's saying Brenda Meller, and he's like, "Who's this Brenda Meller character?" So
I wonder if he knows who I am, because I've commented on a lot of stuff. I don't like the way he uses the profanity. It's not my style.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got their thing, and it's to each his own. I kind of take from people that which works for me, and then I put the other stuff on a shelf, and I just if it doesn't align with my morals or values, or if you attack me on LinkedIn, forget it. All bets are off. But aside from that, I
actually try to tell people as advice for social media across the board. Yeah. Always be polite, always be professional, even if the person on the other side is not troll. Just delete, ignore, and all that stuff. Because at the end of the day, this is it lives forever. You never know when to come back to bite you in the behind. So just be nice, and it'll shine your light, and it'll speak to who you are. Yeah. People can see when other people are being nasty, and if you respond.
I think you can use it as an example to demonstrate your values. I mean, I use when the trolls are commenting, and I get people attacking me because of the rockstar list. Why are you doing this? You're measuring the wrong thing. And I'm like, it's my list. I can do anything I want. But thank you for commenting, because when you comment, it broadcasts it out to my network, so I reach more people.
Yeah. Right. Well, when I started,
people are like, "That's so cool that you did that. You put them right in their place." And I'm like, if they keep going, I'll delete them off the thread, but usually you shut them up once and then they go away.
Usually, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, I support you, and I appreciate the time, and for all the job seekers out there, don't lose heart. It's not over. It's just you haven't found the job yet. And if, like I said, if you need help, there's plenty of people out there who are willing to help for free. So
awesome. Well, thank you, Ira, for joining today. And I'll just remind you guys, if you're not already subscribing to my email list, I want to throw it up on the screen real quick. You're mellermarketing.com/subscribe. I'll send you updated events. I actually am doing a LinkedIn for job seekers, a free webinar series. So check that out if you're in career transition right now. I'll also announce my upcoming social media pie interview series, the folks that will be joining me. Ira, this was a delight. It was so nice to hear your voice. And now, having had this conversation, I know about more of your resources, and I'm definitely going to share them out. So thank you again, and have a good rest of the week.
Thank you, you too. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, take care. Thanks.